What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Elliott Delp, and today we're going to be doing a review on the Stag 15 chambered in 6mm arc, the Covenant. Should be a great little video, so let's get right into it. This is the Stag 15 chambered in 6mm arc, otherwise known as the Covenant. Okay, so this is Stag's newest addition to their line, chambered in the 6mm arc from Hornady, which is the newer round. It's supposed to be the do-all round out there right now. So I was super excited to get this and test it. But before we go into any of the specs, any of how it performed, any type of recommendations or anything, I want to give you a full transparency. So Stag did send this out to me. There's a lot of stuff going on in the gun industry about bias. Usually reviewers get products for free and do their review. So that's kind of where I stand with Stag Arms. I really enjoy the people out there. They're great people. I enjoy their products a lot. Take that for what you will in the upcoming review. So let's dive right into the specs of this rifle, okay? But before we do, shameless plug, follow me on Instagram. That's where you can see all kinds of great pictures and whatnot. It's also where I post deals. And you should check out Basement Operator Company right here. All right, Basement Operator Company, as you guys probably know if you watch my videos, is my apparel line. We're doing a lot of great stuff. 4th of July drop, of course, will be there until the end of July, so pick it up. It's America merch, you know. It's always nice to have your Basement Operator Company 4th of July stuff. So go check that out. It would mean a ton to me. It helps me out a lot, okay? So let's talk about the specs and the features of this rifle and kind of what you get, because it is a relatively expensive rifle. I got one little cheat sheet down here. Don't pay attention to that. $15,499. Basically $1,600, okay, for this rifle. You get a lot with that $1,600, but it is a pricey rifle. It's expensive, but I think it kind of makes up for it. So let's talk about what you get for that heavy price point. So you get a Stag 15. You get it chambered in 6mm arc. All right, you get the Magpul PRS Gen 3. All right, so this is Magpul's newest gen on their stock. It's a really nice, high quality stock. It's probably the nicest stock you can get from Magpul, and definitely the most expensive stock you can get from Magpul. And I think that really contributes to the price of the overall firearm. All right, working your way down the firearm, you have more Magpul furniture. So you have a Magpul MOE grip. This is not the rubberized grip. This is the normal grip, hard plastic. All right, maybe for that $1,600 mark, I would recommend maybe Stag put in the rubberized grip, but I'm just fond of it. All right, so moving through the lower parts kit, you have a mil-spec lower parts kit, but you do have a 2-stage trigger, okay? So 2-stage trigger is really nice if you're doing more long-range shooting, which the 6mm arc is typically more adapt to. Okay, so the 6mm is, we're out of range. I don't know if you can hear this in the background. I'm having a hard time thinking right now because it sounds like there's a war zone up. It's whatever though. I digress. Let's get right back into it. You have your bolt carrier group. So let me take it off the stand here. It's obviously clear. You have your normal like M16 style bolt carrier group. It's not a nickel boron coated or anything. It does have the 6mm arc bolt in it. Fun fact, if you guys did not know this, the 6mm arc bolt is the same bolt as a 6.5 Grendel. So if you're building one and you already have a 6.5 Grendel bolt, you have a 6mm arc bolt. Moving on past that, you have a 16.5-inch rail. So the rail you see here, you might be like, that's a little bit shorter, because it is. I'm not a big fan of the 16.5-inch rails. The 6.8 that I have from Stag has one on it, and I like the 15 so much better. I like seeing that little bit of barrel at the end. I just think it looks better, my personal opinion. All right, so this is the 18-inch barrel. They come in 16, 18, and 20-inch barrel. It has a 1-in-7 twist. All right, so that's a very common twist rate for the 6mm arc. It's what you can come to expect. In terms of the muzzle device, it's a VG6 Gamma 6.5 muzzle device. Now you might look at my muzzle device and you might be like, Elliott, that is not the VG6 Gamma 6.5 muzzle device. And you'd be correct, because as soon as I got this thing, I was like, I'm not shooting this thing without it being suppressed. So this is my suppressor muzzle device. This suppressor is locally made. So don't even bother asking me who made it, because you'll never be able to get one. And I've ran it like that ever since. So that is pretty much the gist of the specs of this rifle. It's a really high-end, nice rifle. And I will comment at the end on some things I think that Stag could implement. I know I already said the grip, but I have some other things that I think that they should include, and that would improve the build of this rifle right out the gate, because I think highly of it. You're paying $1,600 essentially for a rifle. You want to make sure you get one hell of a rifle. Okay, so let's dive right in to how it performed, because I have a whole lot to say about that. But before we do, I would like to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, LA Police Gear. If you are unfamiliar with LA Police Gear, they're a tactical company out of California. They do literally everything, which is ironic for California, but they do like pants, boots, bags, plates, plate carriers, all that great stuff. And I really like them a lot. I've tested a ton of their plates. Their plates work well. Shot it with a lot of 30-06 and 5.56, and it's done great. So code DELP10, save you 10% at LA Police Gear. I want to thank them once again for sponsoring today's video. So let's get right into how this gun performed. It was a roller coaster ride, really. Through the break-in process, through sighting it in, I used an AccuFire Atro 20. Reviews coming out next week on this monster of a scope. I like it a lot. So check out AccuFire. Big shout out to them. Code DELP saves you like 5% there. But how it performed, I zeroed it with Hornady Black. Okay. Big shout out to a sponsor of the channel, Kerr Ammo, because they stay having Hornady Black, or Hornady in general for 6 arc. They typically have it. Common. They have a lot of high-end ammunition. That's one thing you can rely on Kerr for having, is high-quality hunting and long-range ammunition. They also have plinking ammunition, but I think their bread and butter is really that high-end ammo. So go check out Kerr. Use code DELP10 to save $10 on your first order. And let's talk a little bit more about how this thing performed. Starting out, we were getting probably, like I said, I didn't use the stock muzzle brake. I used straight out of the box. I just threw the suppressor on it. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I think most people that shoot long range will be shooting suppressed. It's a fairly common thing to do. I was getting about a 1 to 2 inch group at 100 yards, okay, with that Hornady Black. Hornady makes 3 different types of ammunition for the 6mm arc. They make the Hunter Precision, they make the Black, and then they make the Match. I wasn't able to get my hands on the Hunter Precision or the Match, but the Black is supposed to be like one of the best out of those options. So I kind of figured it would be fine. But the group was a little less than desirable, that 1 to 2 inch. For a $1,600 rifle, I was expecting a little bit more. But I contacted Stag, and they said that it was probably due to the suppressor. So my suppressor is about a 9 to 9.5 inch long suppressor, and they said that when you're starting to shoot, it can open up a little bit. Another thing that they told me is when they test, they used, I think it was Trigger Tech or Timney triggers. They upgrade the triggers from what comes stock, and they said that they were pulling about 1 MOA, which is a 1 inch, a little bit less than that. So I don't know how to interpret that. Maybe it was me, probably me, because I suck at shooting. But that's what I was able to get, about a 1 to 2 inch group at 100 yards. So that's the accuracy part of it. Caveat to that, when I got the 6mm arc, I was like, I'm going to shoot 1,000 yards. I was like, I'm not getting this gun and I'm not shooting 1,000 yards, because that's what the arc's meant for. It's meant to kind of the do all. It's supposed to be a good long range shooter. It's supposed to have really good ballistics. Okay, it is supposed to be a good hunting cartridge. Like I said, it's very similar to the 6.5 Grendel. I'm a super big Grendel fan, and when the 6 arc came out, I was kind of hesitant, because a lot of people were like, it's going to replace the Grendel, and I was like, no shot. But it might, and that's It's interesting to think about for me since I live and die by the Grendel. So the ballistics I was able to get out of it, I think I was averaging like 2,800 feet per second with the can, with the Hornady Black, and that's fairly common. The box was rating it a little bit higher. I wasn't able to chrono that, but it's fine. When I took this out the distance, because like I told you, I wanted to shoot 1,000 yards with it. I've never shot 1,000 yards before, and I was like, well, if I'm to do it, I'm going to start right here. I'm going to give this my best shot. We started at 300 yards, ring and still easy. Start back to 600 yards, started ring and still, and then we got to 1,000 yards. Oh, man. So, before everybody gets butt hurt, there's nobody home. We have permission to be here. Barn's empty. Barn's falling down. Barn's gone. Our shooting lane is clear.
It is.
I don't want to hear it. This is 1,000. Actually, it's 970 yards.
Yeah.
On a 6-inch gong and then a 7 by 12-inch gong.
Yep. 7 by the silhouette.
It's a 7 by 12-inch silhouette. Yeah, Sparky's right. So, pray for us, because we suck. I was using the Straylock app, put in velocities, put in temperature. Like, I was doing my due diligence. I did a ton of research on this, and I was like, I want to hit 1,000 yards. So this is the first day I took it to 1,000, and I was able to connect on a 1,000-yard shot. I was super pumped. It will be addicting, because I will go back and do it again. It was super fun. The combination between the optic and the rifle, and I honestly was very hesitant on taking this out that far because the group was wide, and a lot of the people that I'm friends with that do long-range shooting, they were like, if you don't have a sub-MOA gun, it's basically pointless. And I disagree, I think. Obviously, the more accurate you are with your firearm, the better at long-range shooting it'll be. But I think you can definitely get into it with a less than sub-MOA gun. My, I guess, process for the 1,000 yards, I went probably 8 rounds before I hit the target. But I was shooting into a backdrop that was grassy. I didn't have good, couldn't really spot that well. Let's just say that I didn't have a lot of dirt kick up or anything. I know you're hearing this like freaking war zone in the background, and I'm sorry, but that's just how it's going right now. So it is what it is. All right, back to it. The gun was able to walk in. I was able to walk it in about 8 shots and was able to hit that 1,000 yard. And I was super happy, super impressed. Like I said, I'm not that great of a shooter. It was very, I guess, I was pleased by it. I'll just say that. For someone that never shot 1,000 yards before to take this setup right here and was able to go on the first day of trying it and hitting that 1,000-yard shot, I was very happy with it. So that's, I guess, all to be said about the performance. You got that 1 to 2 inch group, or at least that's what I was getting out of the Hornady Black, but I was able to walk it out to 1,000 yards and connect on a 1,000-yard shot, which was pretty impressive to me. So that's all, I guess, all I have to say about that. So let's talk about who this is for, and then my kind of recommendations to Stag, and they can take it for what they will, and kind of my recommendations to you, okay? So, first and foremost, what is this rifle for? This rifle is your do-all rifle, quite literally a do-all rifle. I'm not a fan of the AR-10. I think it definitely has its purpose, but I'm not a fan of it because of how heavy it is. I think this setup right here, you can accomplish anything with. You can go hunting with it. You can long range shoot with it. You can plink with it if you want. It'll be a little bit expensive because the 6mm arc bullets you're sitting at around $1.50 a bullet, which is pretty pricey. But overall, this can do everything you want a firearm to do. You can hunt, shoot, plink, everything with it. Okay, so I would say that this is your everybody's rifle. Now, what would I recommend to Stag or recommend to you moving forward on a $1,600 rifle? First thing, QD mounts. I don't know why they're not in the rail. A lot of companies are starting to do that, and I think that would be beneficial for Stag to implement. I hate buying an expensive gun and having to turn right around and put $20 in a little QD mount. Not that big of a deal. Not that it's a deal breaker, but it is what it is. Grip. I like a rubberized grip. That's just me. Also, taking down the rail to a 15-inch rail like I have it here cuts weight. I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind the 16.5-inch rail, but I think the 15 is a little bit better. Okay. Next thing, trigger. I think the two-stage trigger is a nice trigger. It's comfortable. It has a very, very audible click and reset and everything. But I would like a higher end trigger in a $1,600 rifle. Whether that be a CMC trigger, which would probably add like $100 to the price, so you'd probably make a $1,700 rifle. But once you're up that high, I think a nicer trigger would be a good thing to add. And I do know Stag is starting to offer newer trigger or higher end triggers in some of their models, and I think that if they did that in the ARC, it would really, really be beneficial. I think that would be a great thing. Okay, so overall, I'm really happy with the Stag, despite the list of concerns, or not really concerns, but suggestions I had. And those are suggestions to Stag and you. If you pick this up, I'd recommend putting a new trigger in it. I'd recommend changing the handguard, putting a QD piece on, because you got QD pieces on the stock, but you don't have it up front. Okay, those are recommendations to you guys too on how to upgrade this thing and to make it more versatile. I put a Magpul bipod on it. Stag's not going to send you a Magpul bipod, but that's one of the things I'd recommend doing, and I like the Magpul bipod a lot. Okay, so overall, I think that this is a very, very capable rifle. Like I said, the accuracy might be a me thing. It might be the suppressor, it might be the lack of a higher end trigger. Could be a lot of things. I don't think it was the ammo, because the Hornady Black's really nice ammunition. But I think that if you wanted to pick this rifle up for the purpose of doing long range shooting and you're just getting into it, it is definitely something that you can do, you can accomplish, and that would be a good investment. All right. So I think that about does it for the video. I really appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you, Stag, for sending this rifle out. It means a ton to me. Also, thank you to Elliott for sponsoring the video, and Kerr for sending out all that 6mm ARC. You got to thank the people that support you, so I really appreciate it. And last but not least, thank you guys for watching the video. If you've made it this far, it means a lot. I really hope you're following me on Instagram, shooting me DMs. I respond to pretty much everybody, so go check me out. Really appreciate you guys. As always, take someone outdoors. Peace.